Low friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another Orc Mode workout. Today was max effort upper day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please click a like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. We didn't go super heavy on the bench today, although people will note half of my chain weight is still off the ground at the bottom of the reps, and that's okay. I'm not worried about it as long as I'm just staying consistent with this whole batch of tracking, which I've been doing the chains like that for a little while, and I just realized that and kind of laughed of how much chain I have still up, but that's okay. Ramped up, did 275. I felt really grindy at the lockout, so I kind of called it there, and kind of called it for the day. So the important thing is getting over the supplemental work, because again, people who watch this, to me it's pretty obvious where we see the weak link in the transition. Notice where I stick in the bar transitions. Okay, that is usually a position where we're trying to transition between the delts and triceps, trying to take over. And in that case, we can still see my delt weakness coming out. Although I feel like when I cut out the JM presses, my triceps get weaker no matter what other tricep exercises I do. And this is something we've noticed repeatedly. And I'm going to change the name of the JM presses. We'll get to that later in it. I had another coach who laughed at the thing I did last time. He sent me a thing, said, "Oh my God, you should do a poll letting people pick the name." All right, we're just going to call them the exercise that makes my tricep strong. So we'll just call them the tricep exercise so that no one feels like I'm bastardizing the JM press. So let's get over to the rest of the supplemental work. Since I've gone back to doing the 10s, I started with 225. I microplated this up, went 227.5 for 3x10 on the pause close grip, and this was actually pretty hard today. I was worried I wasn't going to finish the third set, especially with it all paused, but we got through it. And I actually felt a decent amount of pec on these, but I know that my delts have to get stronger, triceps have to get stronger again. Now, some people will say, well, you're kind of starting light with a lot of those movements to build it back up. Well, yeah, and it's coming off of, again, dealing with the shoulder issue. My shoulder is actually the best it's felt in 7 or 8 months at this point. So I'm pretty happy about that, and I want to maintain that. So I'm going to come up slow with some of those things. The beauty of it is, because I've been stronger on all those lifts, guess what? I have muscle memory. The beauty of muscle memory. Because again, people need to remember overhead pressing. You guys have seen me crank out sets of 12 with 135. You've seen me strict press 225 quite a few times. You've seen me do 227.5 once. Incline's been stronger. So I'm just going to use that muscle memory to my advantage. Build up all those upper chest and delt lifts. And then I'm going to go back to my JM presses. Look, I experiment a lot back and forth with different tricep exercises. Every time I remove the JM press and I don't focus on it, which again, we'll just call it the tricep exercise, my triceps regress. They get smaller, they get weaker. It's been the only exercise that really brings my triceps up. And when I was at my strongest at it, I had people noting, in that t-shirt you're wearing for that one demonstration, your triceps, look, what happened? They got a lot bigger. And that's gone now. You guys notice that that's disappeared? So what does that tell us? And it's not like I haven't been doing all this direct tricep work. My triceps just don't get the same stimulation from the smaller movements. Even when I do a ton of them to failure, it just doesn't do the same as when I push really hard to get real strong on my 10 rep maxes with that JM press, or with the version of it that I do. It's been the only thing that's consistently gotten the job done. And when I do it, my bench goes way up. Right? My benching goes up. Because I always tend to be weak on the top half. When I miss benches, I don't miss them off the chest. Not where I miss a bench. And we know the more I train my lats, the more pop I get out of the bottom anyways. But because I'm in a closed grip, because we have always been better at closed grip, let's just focus on blowing up my shoulders and my triceps. Because that's what matters. Even though I see a lot of delt weakness right now on my benching, I see the delt weakness. We know that my triceps very, very quickly become a weakness. As soon as my delts get strong, my triceps become the limit immediately. So let's just get ahead of the curve. We'll bring back the triceps back up. Get back on the path that we were on when I was climbing before that original shoulder injury. And a reminder, people bring that up and they're like, well, you've been injured your shoulder and you do these other things and avoid injury. But those are not the things that hurt me. I have never gotten hurt doing maxes. And that's the point of the things I say with the maxes, the way why we do it this way. I don't get hurt on maxes. Most of the West Side guys have never gotten hurt on maxes who get hurt. There's a reason for that. I got hurt doing high rep chin-ups and pull-ups. That's what hurt me. And not having the strongest rear delts and shoulder mobility to do them on top of it, combined with overuse. Okay? Pretty pain-free now. At this point, definitely pain-free. The infraspinatus inflammation seems to be largely abated. I could maybe feel it a little bit if I strain it at certain angles. Or when I do my dead hangs, I feel it a little bit. But for the most part, it's gone. The impingement seems to be gone. But I mean, so when I do dead hangs, if I do feel that infraspinatus. So we have to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep hammering my rear delts. So my rear delts, I train after this every time. And I try to do about 10 sets a week right now of rear delt flies for high reps, 30 plus to failure. Okay, so if people are curious what I'm doing. And I don't need to do that on camera. It's the only real lifting other than my abs that I'm doing off camera right now. Okay, we don't need all my cardio. No one cares. But the rows, I went up on these today. I decided, okay, I don't like the way the chest supported rows are feeling. It's not hitting what I need to hit. The Pendlay rows, the inverted rows hit, chest supported or not. So I'm like, let me do 4 sets of these. I went up 5 pounds, then just started doing the 10s again. I got 4 by 10 pretty easy with 230. So I probably need to bump out another 5 pounds. So I think the last couple of those I did an extra rep. So I'll bump those another 5 pounds this next time. Get it up to where it's challenging. Then we did the incline, closed grip incline. Went up 5 pounds. And I ended up doing 10, 10, and then 12. These felt pretty good. I felt like, yeah, I probably should have made a bigger jump today. But I'm going to take my time with it. I'm just going to allow the muscle memory to kick in. I'm going to bring all these overhead type movements, the incline and overhead pressing. I'm going to bring them up slowly. I'm going to try to get a good work and a good pump out of it, but I'm not going to push them to the bleeding edge. And the reason is I can work off the muscle memory, and I still get some staleness in that movement pattern and in the shoulder, especially the overhead. I'm still getting a little bit of that clicking. It's not painful, but it is making a crackling sound. And I went through that same thing with the rear delt flies. The rear delt flies used to crackle for a couple of weeks straight, and now they don't anymore. So again, what's happening is that I think it's whatever stiffness is occurring in the tendons and stuff from not being able to do any of those movements for a while. Because for a while I couldn't even lift my arm up over my head at all. Like I did not have the ability. Someone had asked me, was it hurt too bad? No, I couldn't physically do it. I could strain and push like I'm pushing a 1 rep max, and my hand would not lift higher than my chin. I could not do it with my right side. And so again, because it was that immobile for a while, again, I have to kind of get that range of motion returned. And so I get some crackling in the joint. And I had that with the rear delt stuff. It's gone now. So I think it's just a matter of time because it's reduced. Like I noticed today when I got to it, it was less than last time. So I'm going to just take my time, bring these lifts up, and maybe just like the incline, I'll try to add 5 pounds every workout. Well, that adds up real quick. You know, that turns into over 3 weeks, that's 30 pounds. Okay. Well, in another 3 weeks of adding, if I can add 5 pounds every workout to this for my sets of 10, I'll be getting up to a decent weight. We're getting a decent training weight. I'll be regaining muscle in my shoulders and upper chest off muscle memory just doing this stuff. And it'll just get strong enough each time to handle the next workout, to add the 5 pounds. Now, I did these seated today because, again, I don't want the extra low back straining. I do so much back work on my lower days. I do a ridiculous amount of it. I don't feel the need to do a standing press right now and put extra stress on my low back. You guys see what my lower body workouts look like. These workouts are easy. My lower body workouts are next level. They're enough that most of the people who watch them, a lot of other coaches and lifters, for those of you who don't watch them, who only watch these, you might want to chime in. I get a lot of other lifters who are like, I don't see how you can walk the next day. I wouldn't be able to. Well, I've dealt with that volume. I've gotten used to it. So these are easier. Even though I do more total exercises, it's pushing and pulling, whereas the lower body is all lower body. But these are easier to recover from. They're kind of just nice. I mean, they're hard, intense workouts, but they're not destroying me. Like I'm not feeling like I'm dying in the middle of them like I do on my leg days. But the interesting thing, the leg days, I don't feel anything after. I feel perfectly fine an hour later. I do cardio or I go for a walk, go shopping, whatever on leg days all the time. It's my normal. An hour later, I feel fine, but during them, I'm dying. But again, so I did seated press though, because again, I wanted to just take that stress off the low back, and this will carry over really well to my incline. Yes, I do it with a very close grip. It's intentional. Keeping everything in real close. Number one is easiest on my shoulder joint. Number two, we're making the range of motion longer. Well, if we want to gain muscle, long range of motion can be a useful tool. I'm not saying it's guaranteed to be, but it can be, right? It can be a useful tool. In some cases, it does cause more hypertrophy. It's not a guaranteed, but it very frequently does. So nice long ranges of motion. We need to build all that musculature up because I need to get bigger in those areas to get stronger again. And then I decided, let me do the supine grip inverted rows. I look at where I'm weakest in my back on my squats and stuff. And I know I need the lower lats. I need the lower traps. So that to be hit more. The supine grip on these hits that really well. And if you look at it, I'm just replacing the slot I would have a chin up in. Right? Because I already get the other rows in. And these hit my biceps really hard too. They hit my lats, my biceps real hard. I'm not as freaking out about, oh, am I losing a little bit of upper back on this? Because I get it on the pin leg row and I'm doing all those bent over flies, basically, reverse flies, rear delt flies, whatever you want to call them. And I do those with plates. So I did these. I started out just getting into the groove, which is this 10-pound plate. I got 12, so I can do more than that. I ended up getting 15 on the last couple sets. So I need to throw a 25 on my chest, which I'm looking forward to because I pulled out a lot of chest hair of that 10-pound plate. Taking it back off my chest, my thumb pinched against that plate, pulled out chest hair every single time. So that 25 will probably be a lot more comfortable, and I should be able to get 10s with it just fine on this. But again, good work in the bicep and lats, especially the last 3 sets. The first couple weren't, could I have done, yeah, I could have done more reps. But I decided to get 5 sets of these, and we'll push them harder next time. So we're doing 4 sets of the other and 5 sets of these. That still gives me 9 total sets. 9 total sets of rows to match my pushing. And then with that bias with all the rear delt flies, that should help, again, correct any imbalance there over time and get those rear delts and that whole upper back stronger by throwing that in. But again, nice, good mixed changes of grips too, because I have a pronated grip for the standard row. And then these, I have the supine grip to get a little more bicep. And again, that makes me not need to worry about as much for direct bicep training. And so that's one reason you guys will notice at the end I do hammer curls. Because again, I'm getting a good bicep movement in there. And the hammer curls bring a lot to the table as far as bringing up grip, forearm, just the overall entire front part of the arm. Okay, it works bicep, brachialis, radial brachialis, all that really effectively. So I even though it may not be as perfect for the bicep, I feel like I'm getting a lot of bicep work with that underhand grip on those. So a hammer curl is fine for me after. Then I do my tricep exercise that some people don't like me calling it a JM press. And these are still really hard right now. And I know because I've been stronger. We've seen me do 185 for 10 on these when I was pushing them all the time. I back down to 135 for 10s and they're hard. So we know when I get that back up to 185 for 10, my triceps are bigger and stronger. So that will resolve the potential for tricep weakness. I'll just keep pushing these, and if I have to, if I need to for overuse purposes, I can rotate bars. I do them with the axle bar, I can do them with reverse bands, I can do them with chains. Whatever we need to do. They don't seem to be bothering my elbows at all. I'm not that worried about it. But I'm going to have to work these up slow. I'm going to have to see if I can micro-load them up next time, because these still feel really hard with this. But maybe if I micro-plate them, make those little 2.5-pound jumps, I'll start bringing them back up. And I did that before. We'll do it again. And yeah, so again, addressing everything that needs to be addressed. I need all my back stronger, upper back stronger, middle back. Addressing that we need a lot more tricep and shoulder. And that's being done with the training. So again, we'll bring the bench back up. Now that I'm healed up and I see what things aggravate it and which things do not, And I know which supplemental exercises seem to make my back or my shoulders feel so much better, and that's again just doing lots of the rear delt work. Seems to work wonders for me. We can get back to where I was on the bench and get back to hitting some PRs. Right, because I was having a great flow before I got hurt. 7-8 months ago when I got back to a 352 bench, everything was flowing. I thought I was going to hit 375 last year. So, we get derailed, and we can't let that stuff bother us. At least I got the squatting. And the other thing with the hammer curls, because again, I'm doing all that grip training because the grip is limiting my deadlift. I'm probably 50 pounds stronger on a deadlift than my grip can even handle at this point. Even the hammer curls can improve grip. So all this will contribute. It'll help over time. And I'm going to continue to do what I did last lower day, and we're going to keep doing those double overhand axle bar deadlifts in between a lot of my other movements. Right, for good exercise economy. But 2 sets of hammer curls today to failure, just to finish off my bicep and forearm, just to make sure, because we're doing a lot of rowing. That's 9 sets of rows done twice a week. But a little bit extra there. If I have the recovery, it's not going to hurt anything. And again, taking them just to failure, and it's 25 plus reps, something in that range. It's somewhere between 25 and 30. At a certain point, I'm not really counting. I'll be honest, I lose count. And I get anything past 20 reps, I lose count. And I'm just going until the bicep won't contract again. But overall, good workout, good supplemental work. Benching was still not particularly strong, but we know what all's going on. We're fixing it. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.